Why are we just dishing out all the secrets?
Do we tell them the big secret?
No.
We've got something big to tell them.
No, we don't, actually.
Why? Okay.
Shh, don't tell Mum.
Hello
and welcome to Shh Don't Tell Mum. My name's Barney.
And I'm Jamie.
And this is the 15th most listened to parenting podcast in
Egypt, baby!
And the reason we chose Egypt is because
we're going to Egypt in April.
We damn right are.
So it's March right now. So this is actually coming out tomorrow. So you guys are listening to this like the day before, which is pretty cool.
The day before.
The day before. So we got to get this out quick.
We do. Jamie's going to be in charge of the editing, which I'm kind of excited about.
We're going back to the old days of me editing. Should we tell them we are in a new studio?
We are. This might look a bit more spacious to you at home, for those of you who may not have noticed, because we can barely touch each other. Look, foot touch. We used to be able to, slap each other around during the podcast. But now we have space. We're at a different studio.
Yeah, basically it's a place, a very, very cool place that is run by my friends from school.
How mad is that?
And it's nice because I'm like, oh my God, it's like we're keeping it in the family. We're working all together again. Like these are the kids that I used to, like after school, go around to theirs. We would make music. We would hang out. Yeah.
So were they at like performing school with you? Because you were like at a theatre school, right?
Well, yeah. Jack, who owns this space.
Called TYX.
He did all of Amy Winehouse's new, early music because she's Southgate girl, like me.
Southgate girl. Southgate. You're not you're a Highgate girl. You are literally the polar opposite of what a Southgate girl is,
Can I just say, I have lived longest in Highgate, which was 3 years.
You moved around a lot, right?
Yeah, I moved around a lot. Every 2 years we would move.
The
longest house.
When me and Jamie first met and I started going round to her flat where she lived in North London, every time I got off the train, I was like, I might get robbed. I'm literally a tall, white, blonde guy who's the easiest target you've ever seen in your life. And luckily, you lived a stone's throw from the station.
And I'm like, not the opposite of you. I'm exactly the same as you. So how did
You're
I
a girl
feel?
version of me.
But it was Enfield, okay? I lived in Enfield.
Yes.
But it was always North London. It was like Winchmore Hill, Enfield. If you are from America, because our stats are crazy. Like we have more American listeners than British listeners, which is mad. So I just want to say, sorry, you guys, where I live is basically where Amy Winehouse grew up. But she was a lot older than me. She was actually my babysitter once.
She just loves a name drop. Do you know what I mean? You drop something right there, babe.
Well, I'm just trying to get them to know where I'm from.
I think you dropped something right there. Is it
your attitude?
Could be.
Yeah, you go.
Could be.
That's quick on me.
How's the beanie and wellies look going for you today?
Mate, the weather today.
Grim.
Horrendous. If you're in the UK right now, just leave because it's just horrendous here. It's really, really bad. But one thing I do want to say, guys, before we get started on this podcast today is please share it with a pal and give it a rating. There's not enough ratings. If you listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, just give it a star. Maybe 5. Don't give it 1. If you're going to want to give it 1, just don't listen to the podcast. Turn it off. Why are you listening to it?
And if you're fortunate enough to watch this on our YouTube channel or, get the video access because, we all have a bit of a video watch as opposed to just listening to it in the car on Spotify, then drop us a subscription,
Do you listen to more? Or do you watch podcasts more or do you listen to? Because
my favourite podcasts I watch. And I listen to podcasts predominantly in the car and in the gym. And on a dog walk. So
how do you watch it in the car?
But exactly, I don't. That's what I'm saying. But when I'm at home and I feel like just chilling on the sofa, relaxing and watching a podcast, I'll watch Your Mum's House, which is Tom Segura and Christina P. Huge fan. I wear my mum jeans high and tight, guys. If you're a listener, then you know what that means.
Mine is either My Therapist Ghosted Me or...
Great. Vogue Williams and her friend. I'm so sorry. I always forget the other one's name. And she's a ledge. She's actually the funny one.
McNally. What's her name?
That's just her surname.
It is her surname.
McNally. That sounds Scottish, but she's actually Irish. They're both Irish. They're both
Williams
bloody hilarious. And you know what? Hats off to Vogue Williams for trying out stand-up comedy. She recently did her first set of stand-up comedy, and that is ballsy.
She reminds me of your sister-in-law.
So hard. Reminds you of my sister-in-law.
Yeah, Vogue Williams. Vogue Williams.
Cool.
So Barney's sister-in-law actually works with Golf Channel, so you can check her out as well because you're probably like, you're talking about relatives right now. But she's got a really cool job.
If you listen to our parenting podcast and also watch golf, tell your husbands to tune into the Golf Channel and Cara Banks is my sister-in-law.
Used to be a Robinson. Very cool surname. I love the name Robinson.
Why are we just dishing out all the secrets? Or it's not even a secret, but all the information.
That's going to be the title of this podcast.
Bugger off!
So all the secrets going back in time. The Shhh Don't Tell Mum podcast.
Anyway.
Should we tell them the big secret?
No.
We've got something big to tell them.
No, we don't actually.
Why? The name!
Oh, I mean, it's not a secret.
That is a name.
The bloody same.
Guys,
what are you on about?
We're going to change the name.
We're going to change the name of our podcast. Essentially, the easiest way to describe this is it's not as SEO friendly as we originally thought. SEO means search engine optimization, meaning that if you're searching for something on Google, the first thing that pops up has a good SEO. If you type in, I love rocks, and then some kind of rock geology website rocks up, then that's got the best SEO. So, Shush with 3 dots, then Don't Tell Mum is not SEO friendly, let's be honest. So we're going to be renaming the podcast to
Don't Tell Mum.
We're just going to remove the S, 3 H's and the 3 dots so that it is now going to be called Don't Tell Mum. But I mean, it's staying pretty much the same. If we do eventually make merch, it'll end up being the same. If we go on tour, it'll end up being the same. We've got lots of really big plans for this podcast coming up this summer, and we're really excited. Jamie has been so hard at work behind the scenes to create something amazing for us. I've been working on the kind of visual aspects of it. Jamie's been working on the business side of it, and we're really excited to make some announcements in the near future. But obviously, for now, we're just going to dangle the carrot.
Now, I'm so excited about where this podcast is going to go, and we're in a new space as well, so it's like fresh beginnings.
Yeah.
It feels good, and you know what? It's so weird because I know this sounds mad, but like we've been consistently doing this podcast now for a year without stopping. I think we had a little break in the summertime, but somehow every single time we were doing the podcast, I was premenstrual. So I found myself like going at it with Barney's throat. I mean, one episode was so bad. A comment under one of them was like, "You two aren't getting on at the moment. I think we're gonna have a divorce episode soon." But we're not even married. So
Here we go.
Here we go. So I literally was like, I feel great today because I've just come off. So I am at my prime right now.
5.
This is exactly who I am.
Bosh!
So if you like me or if you don't like me, then you don't actually like me right now because this is the purity of me right now.
It's the purest version of a
purest version.
So why don't we kick this off as it's kind of back to our regular scheduled programming because we don't have a guest with us this time. We've had a bunch of guests as of late. What is new with Rocket? And now let me remind you, this is Disney chat we're talking about in this episode because we went to Disneyland Paris and boy was it a journey.
With a toddler who has just turned 2. And it's so weird because the minute they turn 2, they're like, yeah, he's human now. Before he's 2, it's like
human?
Yeah, before he's 2, it's like, yeah, you can get airline tickets for free, you can get everything for free.
Comped,
you can get tickets. The minute he turns 2, I was like, but he wasn't 2 yesterday. We still have to buy the park ticket, £70.
Damn.
Do you know what I mean? It's just crazy. So yeah, he is now a real human. He's now our responsibility.
He had his own seat on a plane that we went on recently, but that's something else that we can chat about. I think
going there, we didn't actually go on the plane to Disneyland Paris. We drove, which I would totally recommend any parent.
If you have not seen it yet, there is a road trip episode on our YouTube channel, The Bankses. That's The Banks with 2 S's. And you can go and check out the journey that was there. It's actually, you know what? It was really fun, that road trip, because it was short, it was easy, we stayed in the car, so something he was familiar with. He didn't smack out once, and we were in the car for a good 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
So actually, hats off to Rocket. He was an absolute gem.
We timed it well. Like we left
super early, right?
No, we didn't actually leave today, but we left at 9. We got to the shuttle at 9:30 and the shuttle left at 10. So he was already ready for his second nap. So by the time he was in the car and we got into the show, he fell asleep for the long ride when we were over the other side. So when we got to Calais, it was 2.5 hours to get to Paris, Disneyland Paris. And he slept pretty much the whole way. We get there and we check into a hotel. We were in a different hotel to begin with. Which was the first one? Was it Palace Hotel? No,
the
Princess.
first hotel was the
Princess's Hotel.
There was my god! It was it wasn't one of the ones that was on site. You had to get a bus there, but it was the
don't
Disney.
Do that. Don't
it was
do that.
like the Disney Princess Hotel or something. I don't know. It was like a.
It was a lovely hotel.
Next to the B&B, if any of you know about Disneyland Paris. And yeah, the reason why Jamie is saying don't do that is because if you've had a really long day at Disneyland, you've done the rides, you've met the characters, you've eaten crappy food, which makes you feel like, oh, afterwards, you have to go to like a bus route area where all the buses pull in and then take people to different things. And it is like sardines. It's like heaving cattle onto, and 90% of people have prams. So the prams are getting in the way. Yeah. People are huffing and puffing. Everyone's coughing because it was like, it was middle of like Feb
and
time.
it doesn't help that all the kids are like screaming to Hi Mary.
They're like tired. It was just not that fun. Like the exit in the park was great. The leaving to get to the hotel. So pay that little bit extra to stay in a park that is walking distance from the actual studio or park itself, I would say.
Yeah, so you have New York, which is now the Marvel Hotel. You have Newport Bay. Yeah. You have Sequoia Lodge. Yeah. You have the actual Disney Hotel,
which is above the entrance. It's just been renovated.
Hotel Cheyenne. Can you tell I've gone a lot? And where's the other one? Hotel Cheyenne. And then there's the Western.
That is Hotel Cheyenne. That's the Western one.
Yeah, but there's two. There's the Hotel Cheyenne and then there's the Cowboy one.
I actually don't know. But what I will say is that, you've got mums and dads right now listening to this podcast screaming like, it's this hotel. Yeah. What I will say, Disneyland Hotel, right above the gates.
I've stayed in them all, incredible. So I will tell you which one's the best.
The rooms look really lovely now. However, that is only if you are willing to spend £800 a night to stay there. So we're talking super premium. It's got to be for a great cause or a great, I don't know, birthday celebration, whatever, but it's very expensive. We were like, nah, sorry guys.
So New York, they have just renovated and they are about to do the renovation for Sequoia Lodge. So I would go for those two guys if you were looking to go and you wanted somewhere a little bit nicer. I'm a bit more bougier, as Barney likes to say. Really? I don't like to rough it out a little bit. But you know what I do want to do this year? I want to camp. I want to go camping. I would like to go on a Disney cruise as well.
Fucking hate camping. You would hate camping.
I think I'd be really good, number one.
Oh my God. If the toilet does not have like a self-flushing system, you're like, oh my God, this place is just not right for me.
I'm not from Chelsea, Barney. Number two, he's never gone on a cruise. If I was posh, do you think I'd ever go on a cruise?
I'm just not. I've been on a cruise ship before. I worked on one for like 3 weeks. Luckily, it was that short time because I would get like, oh my God. First things first, seasickness, meh, not the best for me. Once you get seasickness as well, it's almost impossible to get rid of. But on a cruise ship, okay, typically you're fine. Cruises are massive. Number two, right, waking up in the morning, going onto your like little balcony or going upstairs onto the bow of the ship and looking around and not seeing land scared the shit out of me.
Really?
Oh my God. Knowing that we know literally nothing about what is in the ocean underneath us. I can't stop. You know what? I think about this and I get freaked out about it.
But you don't get scared flying.
But hold on, right? I think I see a lot of this on my feed on TikTok. And once you watch one video all the way through on TikTok, the algorithm goes, right, they like those videos, feed them those videos. And one of the ones that I keep watching is you click on the video and immediately the song comes on that goes, yo ho, all is mine. Hoist the colours, and it's always like a deep ocean video of someone going into the depths of the ocean or working on an oil rig that's getting slammed by waves or cruise ships that are flipping over, and it scares the shit out of me.
Oh my God, you're mad. I loved it. You know what I would do when I was working on a super yacht? That's probably why I like it.
When I was working on a super yacht.
Okay, so I was working on the super yacht and every morning we would be in a new location. So we were in the middle of like the Croatian waters. I'd get out on the bottom and you can just jump around and I'd swim around the boat, do a few laps of the boat.
You're on the coastline, like next to like a cove in Croatia.
You couldn't do that in the middle of the sea.
France. I'm talking about the middle of the ocean.
But I would like to do the Disney. Have you seen what you get in the Disney cruises, how cool they look? And also the characters are always there, which is great.
Aren't cruise people just a bit weird though?
No, you're weird. So anyway, we spent most of the 4 days tracking down characters. And we didn't know this, but it was the end of our half term and the beginning of the French half term. So we timed that perfectly. It was really busy, but on the good hand, all the characters were there. And I don't think all the characters would have been there if we went not in half term.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, like, it was frigging crowded. We had the British leaving as we arrived because we were like, end of half term, brilliant. And
End
then
of half term
the start
and weekday. Like Sunday was busy, but people were leaving. So we were like, yes. Monday comes around and we're like, oh my God, we're going to have the park to ourselves. It's going to be awesome. French half term starts. But you're totally right, though, in the fact that if we hadn't gone at that time where it was going to be super busy the whole time, nowhere near half the characters would have been there. And that is what Rocket absolutely loved. We took him on roller coasters. We took him on rides. We took him on the Dumbo ride. We took him on the teacups. And honestly, he did not give a flying fig.
Did not care. He was literally like this.
But
I found it hilarious.
he then sees Jessie from Toy Story, like chilling out. And he was like, oh. And he doesn't really watch Toy Story. Minnie was the best one because he had a full smack out because he couldn't see her straight away. He's like, doesn't understand queuing. So he's like trying to run to go and see Minnie. No. And we had to hold him back. And
we didn't film that, by the way. So this is all, you can watch the whole experience of Disney on our YouTube at The Bankses with 2 S's. But honestly, it's a bit long-winded. We didn't film like his temper tantrums, and there was a lot of them because I feel it was a bit weird to just film. The only time you guys will see temper tantrums is when we're in the middle of filming and he just smacks out, has a temper tantrum. But yeah, so he has this temper tantrum before we even, and then she's like probably frightened. But then the first character he met, the first character he did meet was Donald Duck. And it was the first ever dressed up character. And remember, he's going to think that these characters are real life people for a good 3 or 4 years, which is so cute. He saw Donald Duck, he ran up to Donald Duck and he held him there for...
He just hugged him
for a good 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he was like looking like, what do I do? And I was like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to do. Even the photographers were like, oh, this is so cute. Yeah, guys, we have to move this on.
Yeah,
let's hurry this up.
That's the problem. Because there's such a long queue to see each of these characters, you have to, you have an allotted time. You have like a minute to 2 minutes max. So we were like, let's get the most out of it. But he was hugging Donald and he was having such a lovely moment that we just left him and just watched. And he was just cuddling Donald. And then we were like, so do you want to take a picture? And Rocket was like, I just want to cuddle him.
Yeah, and just held him. And then he learned about how to do the signatures. And then we had to pull him away. And then there was the other temper tantrum when we pulled him away because he didn't understand. He had to leave him. But we did that.
That's in like the first 5 minutes of the video.
First 5 minutes of the video. And then we did the last day, we did the character dining because there's a house that says Meet Mickey Mouse, which the queue was 2.5 hours for. But it wasn't even that bad because the princesses one, what was the princess one?
Okay, so on the site, like if you don't really want to just walk around and just randomly meet characters, there are actually designated areas where the characters will always be. So Mickey has his own location where it's like Meet Mickey. And the queue when we went there was like 55 minutes. It was like an hour long and it can get really long. There is also an area in Disneyland Paris called the Princess Pavilion. And we didn't really know what it was until we walked past it and we were like, oh, it's where you go and all the princesses are in there. So, it's like Jasmine, it's Cinderella, it's, whoever.
I mean, how old are we?
There are allotted times
Moana?
in the day.
She a princess?
Moana? She is a princess, but I don't know if they had someone there in like a little, grass skirt. I don't know if that would be appropriate. And coconuts.
I don't know what the princesses
Ariel.
are now.
Imagine what Ariel looks like. Just perched on a rock. Anyway, so we are like pottering around. And we're like, right, let's find a roller coaster that doesn't have a very long queue. Let's look it up online because you can get these amazing apps, by the way, that tell you exactly how long the lines are everywhere. So you can kind of plan your day. And we look up, I was like, what is the Princess Pavilion? And Jamie's dad goes, oh, it's where the, all the Disney princesses line up and wait for people and you can go in and get a signature and a high five, whatever. And I looked at it and it said 230-minute wait. And I spent a good 5 minutes standing there trying to figure out how long 230 minutes is. 230 minutes is over 3 hours long. It's 3.5 hours long.
Your kid would be so hungry.
Hungry, crying, tantrums, sleepy. 3.5 hours.
Do you think that was a mistake? That's ridiculous.
I mean,
who in their right mind would queue for that? We tried to
buy a fast pass.
Can you though to meet the princesses?
I don't know. If you can't buy a fast pass there, that's probably why they've done that.
But remember back in the day, fast passes, you just buy a fast pass and you could do the fast pass for all the rides, and it was like 55 quid, like if you went to Thorpe Park. Disney, they have a fast pass price for every single individual ride.
You have to pay individually.
And we refused.
€5 a head, isn't it?
We were like, no, it's different. It's all different, dependent.
No.
It's like Peter Pan was £20 per person. So we didn't do Peter Pan. And Crush's Coaster, which we woke up specifically in the magical hours, which means you can get in before the public get in if you're staying in the hotels. Stay in the hotels. We used the magic pass to get in. By the time we'd entered, literally, it was like 1 minute past 8 a.m. It was already an hour-long wait for Crush's Coaster. So we were like, well, we're never going to do that ride. We did it beforehand. I remember back in the day, like there's pictures of me and my dad, and there's no one there. There's no one in the background. It was such a quiet place because nobody ever went. But I did not know this fact, which I find absolutely fascinating. For somebody that has gone to Disney about 10 times, Disneyland Paris, and been to the American parks as well, I have seen the evolution of Disneyland Paris. It used to be Euro Disney because Disneyland did not own it. They owned part of it, but it was owned by this man who was an investor. And then
I think he was a sheikh. But yeah,
some
guy, he bought all this land, and then he created a theme park, and then he purchased the licensing from Disney to be able to have things like a few characters and some rides named after Disney films.
So I thought, oh my God, it's going down. The attention to detail was horrendous. It was dirty. It was losing its magic, if that makes sense. So we'd go every single year. I think the last time me and Barney went was in 2017. It was the Christmas of 2017. Now, I didn't know this, but Disney bought the full-on 100% rights to Disney in 2017.
To the park, yeah.
To the park. So, in 2017, the evolution from then to now, different park.
It's absurd.
It's so good. The attention to detail, the shows, the music, how clean.
Yeah, everything
looks like it's been immaculately painted. It's better than going to like the California Disneyland, which is the original Disneyland, or Epcot or something like that. It's so freaking good, and it's on our doorstep. And now I'm like, okay, I'm hooked. But what do you think that it was like what do they call it? The invisible effect?
What? Invisible
something effect.
What do you mean? I'm confused. In what way? Explain it.
Do you think it's okay, for instance,
placebo?
Not placebo effect.
Damn it.
Medusa effect. Is it
What
Medusa?
the Medusa effect.
Medusa.
Snakes in your hair.
Well, it's like the Britney. Everybody thought she had a microphone on the Baby Hit Me One More Time video.
A Mandela effect.
Mandela effect.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a Mandela effect with Disneyland because we have a toddler now? Everything for us was like, oh my God, this is amazing because we're with our toddler.
I think the Mandela effect is basically something that everyone's brain has simultaneously told them has happened in a certain situation or a phrase or something that you see, but actually it's never existed. So the Mandela effect, I don't know if it applies to that, but I feel like what you're saying is because everything is kind of new and polished and because Disney owns the rights, it almost gives you I think the placebo effect is more right, what you're saying.
But is it because we have our toddler? I'm saying, is that why it's nicer? Maybe it isn't nicer.
Seeing it through their eyes makes it more magical. So it almost is like a placebo effect via your kids, because in 2017, it could have been exactly the same, but because we're seeing the park through the eyes of a toddler, of his first experience of everything, meeting the characters for the first time, I feel like then that makes it more magical for us personally as parents. So yeah, it could be a placebo effect. I think Mandela effect is something slightly different, but anyway. So what's new with Rocket? We'll get back to our regular schedule. But anyway, no, I think that just going to Disney has made him appreciate characters, films, and just he's got this newfound love for Disney. He was crying the other day, a couple of days ago, just having a little bit of a moment at home, as toddlers do. And we were kind of like, what? And then he just went, Mickey!
Where
and we were
is
like,
this Mickey?
Oh, we'll go get Mickey at my mum's. We'll go and... So I went and got Mickey and got it for him, and he comforted him. And that made me feel warm inside, mainly because... It was the same for you growing up.
I had a Mickey. I had the exact
Mickey,
which was so cute. Well, an exact Mickey, mine's so much older. But you know what he did this morning? What's new with Rocket? I'll tell you what he did this morning. I was furious. And I don't know as a parent, actually, if you guys can DM us, because I'm really lost here as a parent and how to discipline him here. He was having a temper tantrum. He grabbed my Mickey. took it to the top of the stairs and threw him down. And it was almost like he knows how much I love my Mickey. He did that to like...
Trying to get your attention?
Trying to get my attention. And I just was like, don't you dare touch that Mickey. But then Tyler, my sister, turned around and went, Jamie, you can't act like that. And I'm like, well, how am I meant to respond?
How am I meant to discipline?
How am I meant to discipline? Like, there's rules now on how to discipline properly, but if he does something, or for instance, when he bangs his head because he's not getting enough attention, he'll do this thing where he throws himself on the floor, and then he'll look at you, and then he'll go, bash. That, again, I'm like, no, don't bash your head. You're going to, like, and I immediately go to wanting to shout, and I'm like, no, that's not how. But how do I respond? Like, he threw my Mickey down. How am I meant to respond as a parent? That's really, what I want to ask.
Yeah, really difficult one. I mean, if you have answers for it, obviously I'm going to chat. We'll chat it out, but it's thebankses@gmail.com is our email address for if you want to ping us your answers. That's it's thebanks with 2 S's @gmail.com. And, you know, it's actually kind of a difficult one to go through because it's like, again, it's just how do you discipline your child? Now, saying no, a lot of people say that doesn't make a difference. And a lot of people actually are against, you know, raising your voice unless absolutely necessary, unless there's danger involved. So I think one of the difficulties is trying to explain that something is important or something is wrong to do to a toddler is almost impossible because they can't really compartmentalize things like danger and things like going wrong, but he is developing a level of understanding. So if you could be like, this Mickey is precious, you cannot harm, throw, stamp on, whatever, but because he is hitting those terrible tears, all he's doing is trying to get your attention.
But he knows that, so that's why he did it, because he knew it's special.
And he wanted attention, or
so
he
does it with the phone because I've always got the phone in the hand, and then he does it with Mickey because he knows I love my Mickey. It's like a way of a kid.
He throws your phone on the floor.
Yeah, if he has a temper tantrum, he'll grab the iPad and throw it on the floor, or the phone and throw it on the floor.
So it's just an attention thing. I think he wants attention, but obviously you need to find a balance with a child to be like, you can't always have our attention. Like, you have to be able to sit by yourself, entertain yourself and play with your own toys as well. Like, there's an element of balance here where he always has something stimulating him. And I feel like that's kind of a knock-on effect.
Did you see that TikTok?
Well, I say just purely because of him being traveling recently a lot, going to Disney. We also, you know, we did a ski trip as well. And so being on the plane, being in the car, he does tend to be given an iPad or a phone or something to stimulate him so that he doesn't have a smack out in the car. And I feel like because we have that, it's becoming something that he's used to. So
they say that kids need to actually respond to boredom. And actually, you know, on the long queues in Disney, we went on Autotopia. I
think it was Autotopia.
It was like an hour and a half wait, and he was really good. We kept him entertained, really, but we didn't give him the phone. So we just was like talking to him, sitting him up on the side, you know, just hanging out. And he responded quite well to that. And I was quite surprised by the way he behaved there. I was like, wow, you're good.
You don't need a phone. You don't need an iPad like all the time. Like, it's okay to have creative fun. But yeah, there was a post recently that Jamie's referencing to where a teacher said that she's been teaching for 21 years. She's had this really long lifespan of being a teacher, and said that the creativity levels of students has massively gone downhill because they're constantly stimulated either by phones, by iPads, by the TV, by gaming, whatever it is. They're getting constant stimulation, so there's no necessity for them to get creative, to go out and play in the mud, to play pretend, to, you know, whatever it is that kids usually used to do, like when we were growing up, like climb trees and pretend that you're in a battle, you know, get sticks and pretend that you're in Star Wars. They can now just pick up a game and do it themselves.
You know what makes me laugh though?
Go on.
Is that I picked him up from school yesterday, and there's a photo on the wall, and it actually says, it was like, I found myself playing with pots instead of asking for the dummy for hours, on like the little description there at the bottom, and it's just a picture of Rocket.
And it's saying underneath, I now figured out a way to not scream for my dummy.
Yeah. It's like, without screaming for my dummy. And I literally was like, oh my God, he does that at school as well. He only goes 2 days a week to nursery. But honestly, the development, I would definitely say that as a parent. Like, if you aren't a parent yet and you are going to go down that road, I would definitely roll them into nursery. And my parents had a thing once when they were in America with me, and one of the parents who I was playing with a kid, and they were like, "Is your kid go to nursery?" And they were like, "Yeah." He was like, "You can tell from the development," and I was slightly younger than the kid. But yeah, he says things now, and I'm just like, "Whoa, this is incredible. How do you know that? I didn't teach you that." And he knows songs, lyrics to songs. It's incredible. One question to you, Barney Banks, I want to ask is, would you do Disneyland slightly differently now you've been once with Rocket? For all the parents out there who will be going to Disneyland, what would you do? Well, would you do anything differently, or how would you give advice to fellow parents if they're going to Disneyland?
So I feel like, based off our experience, we stayed in Sequoia Lodge. We paid pretty significant amount of money to have a suite because we wanted to stay, myself and you and your dad and Rocket in the same room, right, rather than getting separate rooms. And I feel like, I mean, as Jamie's already mentioned earlier, Sequoia Lodge is actually getting a facelift. So there's going to be a massive renovation done. So it is quite run down and hasn't been updated for a while. Whilst we loved staying in Sequoia Lodge, I had no problem staying there. I feel like if I went back there, I'd stay in a more modern hotel, and even for a smaller kind of additional fee. And so that would be something like the Marvel Hotel. The Marvel Hotel has some more amenities that are suited for adults. So if your kids go to bed and you either have like what would you call it, like a nanny camera in the room, and then you could go to like the bar downstairs. They have like a sky lounge bar. The Sequoia Lodge didn't really have those kinds of amenities, and I just feel like the New York, aka the Marvel Hotel, is slightly better, and I think it's similarly priced, and it's actually closer to the park, not by much, but closer slightly. If you're going with a toddler, just I think also remind yourselves that the magic is with the characters. We kind of got fixated at some points throughout the day of wanting to go on roller coasters because we wanted to go on some more adult things, whereas actually if I went there again, I feel like I would be more channeled into let's go meet more characters, let's do more of the character-based things. We went and saw the Lion King show on the last day, and I feel like we could have done more stuff like that because it was just so great. For Rocket was absolutely, that's the first time I've seen him sit through something for like 30 minutes.
He was absolutely
He sat and watched this
amazed.
Lion King thing and was like, oh my God.
But it's not like we didn't try. So that was one thing I was going to say to change is like, yeah, if you want to do shows, just make sure you're there even before 45 minutes beforehand.
You can't really wing it. You've got to plan your days.
Yeah, if it says 2:30, you've got to get there at 1:45 because I guarantee you they will not let you in after 2:15 because of the queues. It's not even 2:15, I'd say like 2:10. We tried 3 times to try and get into places because in the studios they have loads of shows on for the kids, for the ages, and we were like racing to one that couldn't go there, race to another, and then we ended up going to one, the Stitch Live one, which was not good.
Stitch Live was a bit dated.
Yeah, very dated. Lion King is brilliant.
Lion King's amazing.
I would like to go see that in the West End now after seeing that. The music was insane.
The music was really
the
well done.
soundtrack.
The singers were great as well. Even like, you'd envisage that the West End or Broadway version, the singers would be the best, like by a long way. In fact, the singers in the Paris Disneyland are amazing. So Jamie, I've got a few Disney-esque stories that happened to us while we were in Disney, however, also happened to other people.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
We're not original. Oh my God.
I mean, to be honest, going to Disneyland, I kind of expected to be like public amenities. Let's just try and avoid them. But I'd done that really stupid thing of in the morning when we went to go onto that crush coaster thing nice and early. I'd had breakfast, I'd had a coffee, didn't run back up to the room to do the usual. So we went straight into the park to try and rush to get to Crush Coaster. If you watch our YouTube channel, you will know what happened when we got to Crush Coaster. I'm not going to spoil it right here, right now. But anyway, I was like, you know what?
It's
I
an
have to go to the
adventure.
toilet. I just got to happen, right? Number 2's a call-in. I'm very sorry.
Oh my God.
Sorry for the additional information. I ran into the toilets near the Aladdin area of Disneyland. Can't remember what that's called.
Okay.
And found a bathroom, went in there,
What?
and I put down the seat. The seat was up because,
You didn't tell me this.
put down the seat and my hand just got covered in pee. Someone else had peed all over the seat and then lifted the seat. And so when I put my hand in to put the seat down, I was like, "Ah!" And I was like, oh my God, this is like everyone's worst nightmare. So yeah, safe to say, ran out, washed my hands and didn't do it.
See,
and so
my
suffered.
toilet was so immaculate. You could have licked
I'm
that toilet
so
seat.
happy for you. Congratulations. Would you like another Lee hat?
I'd like a medal.
Yeah, okay, I'll get you a medal. Right, second one is we have to talk about you stacking it over someone while you were trying to do chat. So we left the Spider-Man.
Our videographers cut it out of the video and I had to ask them to put it back
Yo,
in.
mate, it was so funny. So we were exiting the Spider-Man ride, which is like a web shooter ride. You have a little, handheld pew, 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 and you've got to shoot stuff. Anyway, it was fun. It's a little bit like the Buzz Lightyear ride if you've done that before at Disneyland. So Jamie, when we're exiting, goes, let's add this to the vlog. I'm going to talk about the fact that we're in, the Marvel Land area and be like, so welcome everyone. We're exiting the Spider-Man ride. This is what's here. As she's doing that and walking backwards, I'm filming her. By the way, I couldn't see, so you can't blame me. She stacks it over like an 11-year-old girl who's tying her shoelaces and goes flying. And honestly, that was one of the peak moments of our trip.
Do you think?
I had such a great time with
that was the peak.
You pissed yourself laughing, and I did as well. So I just thought it was a lovely little cherry on top of a great show.
It was good. I think my peak was when he met Donald Duck for the first time. That was so cute. Oh my dear Lord. And I just was like, he loves this. And then that made me want to have the whole trip just meeting characters. And we've never gone to Disneyland. I mean, as an adult, you just want to go on all the rides. But this was like, we want to see as many characters. And so he meets so many people. And his obsession for Mickey Mouse and Minnie. Remember when he took him to the character dining? And he was like,
he didn't want to eat.
Eeyore came up and he was like kissing Eeyore, really sweet with Eeyore. And then he just left and like bombed it for Mickey Mouse.
Because he saw Mickey across the room and we were like, no, Mickey only has an allotted time with certain characters. We've got to run.
Like, he can't do this, he can't do this.
Anyway, so now we move on to the Disney, one of my favourite things that I've been doing recently is going on Reddit.
Mate, I downloaded the app.
How good is
So
Reddit?
good.
Oh my God, this is going to be savage, right? So Disneyland, you can imagine some of the things that people have seen at Disneyland, considering it packs out everywhere and at any time of year. It's always busy. So Disney story number one. While waiting for the bus at the end of the day at Disneyland, which by the way, we've already told you was heinous, there was a family behind us that had multiple adults and one child. None of the adults were paying attention and the kid was going back and forth, dragging his tongue on a 10-inch section of the railing where you stand for the bus. It went on for about 5 minutes until he decided to stop and the parents never even noticed. It's been 11 years and I still think about that weekly and I gag. I mean, that like some of the worst stories I've heard from people is like, children picking up gum off the floor and chewing it and stuff like that. But dragging your tongue on the railing at Disneyland, the amount of people that hold that, touch that, do whatever, that is horrendous.
I always have a thought. Remember when you lived in Lewisham and you had a lift and we were moving all our stuff out?
Yeah.
It was like the day of moving out. And somebody had wiped, but he'd been there for ages.
Oh my God, a booger.
Their snot on the side.
wall.
But then that hallway was full of kids, so it was probably a kid's booger. But I was just like, we need to get out of
I remember
Lewisham.
going in that lift one time and there was just puke all in the inside of that lift. Someone had obviously been hanging.
L&Q had to clean that up.
L&Q, thanks guys, love ya. Right, next story. Someone then put, I sympathise. When my son was 3 years old, we caught him eating every stray piece of dropped food on the pavement at a state fair. Luckily, the boy's still alive. That's what she signed off with.
But that was a
He's
state
still
fair.
alive.
That's not Disneyland.
But imagine being at a fair, which is essentially, a theme park-esque kind of style, and just picking up food off the floor and eating it.
I mean, Barney, Rocket did that.
Parents, be more vigilant. Finally,
Rocket did
I'm going
that.
to leave you with this. A kid that we'd never interacted with, so didn't know us, coughed on my sister's face and said, "Ha ha, now you have chicken pox." She indeed got chicken pox after that, despite being vaccinated. And then someone replied underneath going, "That's bioterrorism." Bioterrorism. Imagine coughing on someone knowing you have like chicken pox and being like, ha, and then they actually got chicken pox. I'd find that kid, find their parent, and then shit in their cereal and you've got E. coli now.
I'm actually excited for the times where me, you, and the community of Shhh Don't Tell Mum gets to talk about the times where Rocket will, enter the knit stage, or we're all going to do this together because everybody has to go through it. The knit stage, the chicken pox stage, like cutting his hair for the first time. We are contemplating cutting his hair. I think we're going to keep it long, but we're just going to take it to a stylist and just kind of like maintain it a little bit because it's wild. Like this morning I came down and he'd found the biscuits on the side and he'd scoffed loads of biscuits and his hair was like friggin' scientist Einstein creates because he's got these curls, and he just looked at me and he was like, he just squeals. That's
how he looks like he's been dragged through a hedge backwards.
Milk. Yeah, and I'm just like, well, at least you're happy. And he's like, I'm like, what's around your face? He was covered in friggin' biscuits. Jesus. Don't know why they were on the side of his bed. He leaned over and grabbed them.
Who put biscuits in his room? Definitely
I don't know. They were
me.
obviously picked up and put down onto the side.
Mate.
So he'd had all the biscuits, and that was full. So he had about 50 biscuits.
This is kind of completely unrelated, but I know how excited you are about it, so I want you to talk about it a little bit, just to close off this episode of the podcast. At TYX, the new studio, Jamie Lisa, talk to us about your latest obsession, Ted Lasso.
Oh, great. Guys, if you've seen Wrexham AFC on Disney, there's one on Apple TV and it is called Ted Lasso. Now, people have been telling me about Ted Lasso for such a long time. I mean, it's in series 3. I think it's going into series 4. We saw Olivia Wilde actually at Soho House with the kids when they were filming, because obviously she's not with Jason Sudeikis anymore.
We are literally so bougie. It's like, we saw her at Soho House.
We shared a car with them.
Wait, what did we share?
A milk cart.
We shared a milk cart that takes you from point A to point B.
What if I could Oscar or something?
The entrance of Soho Farmhouse. They take you in a milk cart to your car.
We go every year.
We can walk it in 1 minute, but a car picks you up and takes you. It's literally the most absurd place.
It's so nice. It's amazing. Anyway, that he was obviously shooting because it's shot. He basically has created this fake football. Yeah. It's a football place called Richmond AFC, and obviously there isn't one called Richmond AFC.
There not?
But it's based around Crystal Palace.
Is it actually? I said that, but I don't know.
No, it's not filmed. It's not filmed at Crystal Palace.
No, I know.
But the story is based around Crystal Palace.
Oh, is it?
You should know more about Crystal Palace because your ex-girlfriend used to.
I used to support them. Yeah. I used to go to their games.
Did you just support them though because your girlfriend?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. That's a supportive
way. Well, I go watch the games, and you want to cheer for the team that you're watching, and like the fans you're sitting in.
Were they a good team, or what league were they in?
Yeah, they're kind of like
League One.
They're an underdog team. No, they're in the Premiership, but they're an underdog team. They're always like kind of fighting their way out of the bottom of the pile, which is cool, that everyone kind of roots for them because of that, which is cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so I really hope Wrexham's up there.
Wrexham are one of those teams, and funnily enough, because they got a bit of investment, because they got Ryan Reynolds behind the team as well, they got a lot of media attention. That also means that players are leaning towards going there because there is an underdog story. Even if the caliber of player is better than Wrexham, people want to go there. A, for the media attention, and B, as Wrexham climb these ranks, they're going to get more and more, spotlight and more attention. So then they'll want to be more attractive to other maybe bigger clubs.
Yeah.
Anyway, Wrexham have gone from National League, where you don't really get paid, to League 2, and in League 2 they're at the top, like towards the top of the league. I think
they
League
might get 1, Championships and Premier.
So we got National League, League 2, League 1, Championship, Prem. They're in League 2 right now, and they might go up to League 1. For all the mums listening right now,
you won't know
relay on this information to your husbands or boyfriends, and they'll be like, "Oh my god,
you guys can watch it together."
Football.
And I tell you why: it's because Jason Sudeikis plays Ted Lasso, and he's an American football coach, and he's brought into the UK to play football, but it's obviously a completely different game to coach football. And the relationship between him and his son, it's just really, really lovely. And I really do believe that, like, if you are a parent, you will love it. If you love sport, you will love it. It like hits all the right feels.
It's like a feel-good coming of age, but not coming of age, but you know what I mean.
Your mum loved it.
Emotionally coming of age TV show about the hard knocks of football, but
I feel like we need to start it again so you actually get to, because he only dips in and out of the episode, so I feel like we need to actually start it again for you. I don't mind watching it again.
I would rather shave my ass.
You love it! Are you kidding me?
It is alright, but I've got other things to watch, babe, like Full Swing. Right, everyone, I've absolutely loved this new episode at the new studio. It's been amazing. Jamie, you're great. I'm far enough away from you that I feel like I can insult you without being slapped. High foot. Love you. And happy to be here.
Do you have secrets? Tell the people. Don't tell
you know
Mum.
what? We've spent so much time together with Rocket over the coming weeks.
Yeah.
I actually don't have one.
Okay.
Other than the fact that he had his first little ski lesson. But we're going to talk about that in our next episode because you know what? We love you so much. We want to keep it on brand.
Keep it on par.
Keep it on the slopes.
I don't know. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Remember to support this podcast by sharing with a friend. You know, whoever you are next to right now, tell them about the podcast. But please give it a like. Podcast. Give it a follow. If you are on YouTube, check out the visual version. It is fun. We're going to keep bringing the more people that support the podcast means the better guests we have, and God, do we have some good guests coming on. I'm so excited.
So smash follow button. We love you all, and we'll see you very, very soon. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.